Al Reinhardt's For All Mankind. This is a pretty amazing documentary considering how much footage Al went through here to assemble this great little documentary that gets us very engrossed in what it feels like to take a trip to the moon. So what this documentary does, based on Al Reinhardt plowed through like tons of different footage here, to both showcase and to both create a narrative so that we can get an idea of what it's like to prep for going to the moon, getting in the shuttle, having the shuttle take off, having go into space, having to make the moon landing, and what it feels like to step on the moon there. It's narrated by a handful of different astronauts from different Apollo missions, who give us their firsthand experience of how this all went down here. And you have some amazing music layered over it, and you get like a ton of stories while at the same time witnessing some amazing footage with some great sound here, amazing sound. Now, of course, the Criterion Channel released this film. I'm assuming to capitalize on the Apollo 11 film that's currently out now. But I found kind of like an interesting kind of connection here. It feels kind of similar to how Peter Jackson approached They Shall Not Grow Old, which is the World War I documentary. In that same sense, how that film brought you into World War I, For All Mankind, it kind of brings you into the fold of what it was like at NASA. You get to hear not just like the interviews, but also like bits of audio from like the transmissions, what was said back and forth. And there's a lot of space in there to like let the footage breathe, where we can look out into space, see what the shuttle sees, see what the astronauts see, and the music is perfectly atmospheric here. Just it washes over you. So you really do feel like you're more ingrained in this film. I would really love to see this film theatrically, in the same sense that I recommended They Shall Not Grow Old should really be seen in the theater. I think For All Mankind should. I would almost say like they should do like a double feature with this and the Apollo 11 film. Especially if you're really that interested in space, that's a great double feature there. It's just everything from like the way that this film is assembled, to let us on the experience, and to kind of, like I said, to get us into like the mood and to feel what it feels like, and to almost kind of like the soundtrack feels a little bit heavy, but I think it does a great job to communicate how going up into space kind of feels, just kind of like almost kind of like a transcendent feeling, that the astronauts can't quite describe, but they try their best. Like one astronaut says it's kind of like a sensation, where like kind of like you look up into the stars and you look up at the moon, and you can kind of remember what it was like to be up there, and even just conjuring up those memories conjures up this different state of mind as to like somewhere else that you've been before. The film, and much like the best documentaries that get you engrossed in true stories of harrowing tales of what great men and women have actually done, this film is very much a tribute to those astronauts that tell their story here, as well as those who didn't live to tell their story. It actually ends with them listing off all the people who've kind of gave their more or less kind of gave their lives for the sake of space exploration. And for that, I think For All Mankind really does a great job of getting you into the mindset of trying to feel like what it was like to be an astronaut, a sensation that a great majority of us will never know. But I'm so glad that Al Reinhardt took the time to sift through all this footage and assemble a film that does kind of like a great job communicating that experience.